guys have allocated your points for line and angle, and this track has gone through a number of different changes, renditions, adjustments. Let's talk about the track layout first and how you guys have allocated line and angle points.
So if you look at the track map that's up on the screen, there are 6 different scored areas on the track. So inside clip 1, inside clip 2, then there's the touch and go on the driver's right, inside clip 3, outside zone 1, and then inside clip 4 is right at the finish line. We, like you say, have made a couple of changes to the track during the last couple of days here to get it to where it is now. It's done for safety reasons, first of all, to keep the drivers in the right parts of the track, and also to keep the tire wear to a minimum as well. The decel areas are right at initiation as the drivers get to angle at inside clip 1, and then there's a slowdown area right before outside zone 1. And what you need to do is go through touch and go to inside clip 3 with the most momentum possible. Big angle through there. Once you get past inside clip 3, you want to rotate that car as close to driver's left as possible. That's where you should be doing your slowdown right there, and then going all the way around outside zone 1. There may be also a slight slowdown from the end of outside zone 1 to the finish line because of how much that corner tightens up right there.
Fluidity and commitment seem to be so important at this track from what we saw last night in Pro 2 qualifying, and obviously that makes up style a big portion of the points allocation. So talk a little bit about that and how you judge that here at this track.
Style is worth 40 points. 20 of that is fluidity, 20 is commitment. And like you said here, it's very important, especially right in front of the judges' tower. And that is, like I was saying earlier, from the touch and go area to inside clip 3 to outside zone 1. It's an area that rewards commitment big time. And if you don't do it right, it doesn't look good, but it also puts you in a very bad position going into outside zone 1. So you need to have your momentum carried through here, rotate the car aggressively to get it slowed down for outside zone 1. If the drivers are slowing down before the inside clip, which we are still seeing drivers doing now, it's not allowing them to get out to outside zone 1, and it's really slowing them down and making for choppy driving. So those 20 points for fluidity are very important here, and commitment also, throwing the car right out to the edge of the track, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I think just, it seems like yesterday we were saying, you know, we're halfway done with the season, and now we're on the downside of it.
Crazy.
Got done with Seattle, tremendous event, one of the best ones I think we've had there in quite some time. Beautiful weather, and you know, now we're at a brand new facility here at Gateway Motorsports Park. A great track, but really, really challenging for the drivers. We've had to make quite a few adjustments in order to come into equilibrium a little bit, in order to make sure we could have the best possible competition. And here's our first driver out for pro qualifying today, Jared.
Ryan Litteral in this Coro Works 350Z from Riverside, but the vehicle comes to us from Atlanta, Georgia. The Coro Works Z comes in, that Mass Motorsports V8. And, a major correction there, and that's going to definitely hurt, unfortunately, Ryan Litteral. And reason being here for Ryan Litteral as
and coming out of that final turn into the outside zone, you can see that he straightened up there quite a bit.
So they will get the fast pass from today into tomorrow's top 16. Right now, Taylor Hull. And I got to tell you, he looked awesome yesterday. Debuting this new car this year, this Cadillac ATS-V, this Comp Cams vehicle looked very fast. He kept it sideways, as Taylor Hull has had a lot of gremlins with this vehicle, but not the case this weekend as the Achilles tires get lit up right on the hash mark. Look at that, just blowing in the wind is that Black Magic initiation point. And Taylor Hull brings it across the finish line, and he'll get a score on the board. Looked like it made me a little nervous there, shallowing up on the sweeper.
Well, let's get a look here. The initiation rolling into that first inside clip. Now transitioning, Brown. Here's that second inside clip. There was a touch ago there early on in the development of this track, and now we want the drivers to get midline here for safety reasons. And then as you get into this final outside zone, you can see Taylor Hull has to shallow up quite a bit. The zone actually extends all the way out to the edge of the course, and then here's that last inside clip there before they cross the finish line. So a little bit of a mistake in that final outside zone from Taylor Hull.
All right, so there's Taylor Hull's score, a 62. A 62 there for Taylor Hull is on the start line. Austin Meeks from Inman, South Carolina. His family practically has a zoo, and he's going to try to be a wild animal here on this very fast course. And here comes Meeks past the judges stand. Big angle from him about the third hash mark. You can hear him lifting, just settling the car in, getting into that big long sweeper. Set it and forget it as Austin Meeks. See a little bit of wavering there with those front tires, but dials it in and will receive a score.
Well, let's take a look here at Meeks. You can see the 3-2-1 cones here in the grass right about there. Gets that early initiation. A bit wide here on that first inside clip. On the second also as well. Could have tightened it up. The judges would like to see you get to the edge of the course there. Not up on the rumble strips, but just right to the edge. Outside, that outside touch and go, he didn't get out there. He's on midline, and then finally he starts to push into this outside zone, but you can still see he's not as deep as he need to be. There's those 3 hash markers. Noticing at the final section of that outside zone, and then from there, Jared, the judges want to see the drivers push down cleanly, draw a smooth line to that final inside clip. So Meeks leaving a few line points on the table here overall, something to build off for run number 2.
And there we go, Meeks with a 64, so just barely Meeks out. This is Federico SCERIFFO from Milan, Italy. He's piloting this Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorino drift spec, aka he calls it Fiorella. And here we go. Nitto tires go ablaze. A little late on the initiation, Ryan. I'm seeing kind of your body language here. So Federico SCERIFFO, you see him shimming his way into this final outside zone. Told me that he found a lot more horsepower, a lot more torque in between Seattle and here. Car seems to be a lot more settled as well, and that's what he's talking about, the attitude of the vehicle squatting a lot more, Ryan.
Well, let's take a look here. We saw Federico lay down some pretty solid runs in practice. You can see right there passing through that first inside clip, second inside clip, doing a pretty good job on that line. Gets a little bit early there on that outside touch and go, and it kind of bothers him through that center section. But here, as he gets into this final outside zone, the first and only outside zone, runs that rear wheel pretty deeply, comes up on that 3rd hash mark, and then right there, nice and tight, smooth line through that final inside clip. So here he is right here. This is where he gets a 2 tires off there for a second. He was a bit early on his transition to that outside touch and go, which the drivers just need to find a location in that touch and go to get their rear bumper. But outside of that, a pretty decent start for him, and again, another run that he can certainly build off of.
And there's the result for Federico SCERIFFO, a 74. He will be seeing head-to-head competition tomorrow. But this turbocharged Viper, a new chassis for him, not the Viper, but overall, literally a brand new chassis and quick initiation, right to angle there, Ryan, really fast. Nice job from Kearney. Out to that touch and go, big angle pass, really tight to that front clip. The Oracle lighting, Achilles tire, Dodge Viper, hitting his stride, finding that sweet spot, and you can see him on that outside hash mark, just about the 3rd hash mark. So a strong run there from Dean Carnage Kearney.
Well, noticeably, you can see the quick rate to angle on the initiation. He gets right there, he holds it, draws that nice line, kind of late apex is that first inside clip. Right on that 2nd hash mark on that 2nd inside clip, draws this line out to the touch and go, leaves it a little bit early, but look how quick he's motoring through here. And you can see the confidence in the vehicle from him as he gets into that outside zone. Comes off a little bit early there, doesn't get the full points on the line for that outside zone, but clearly a very confident run from Dean Kearney.
And it's an 81, so a strong jump and run for him. Kazuya Taguchi piloting his GTR, Achilles tire, up garage, top 1 oil GTR. Kazuya coming into that first front clip. You see, getting in the rumble strips. It's not where the judges wanted it, excuse me, but pretty much just only affects him. Didn't affect too much of the attitude of the car. You see him throw it in, but then pull a little bit of angle out of it to adjust. Now tightens it up to that finish line. So Kazuya Taguchi puts down a run, and he'll be getting a score.
Well, let's take a look at this here, Jared. You can see Taguchi gets a little bit tight on this first inside clip. Good angle here, kind of a slow roll initiation, but comes up on the rumble strips there. Better job on that second inside clip. But watch right here, he kind of almost comes straight for a second with the line that he was drawing to that outside touch and go. He was able to pull it off and make it look decent, but his line didn't give him enough momentum to stay all the way into that zone and fill it completely. So he had to pull off a bit early there in order to maintain drift in the angle. Let's take a look at what happens when you go up on these rumble strips. You can see right there, it really does kind of throw you off for a second, but Taguchi does a good job.
And he does, 76. So a 76 for Kazuya Taguchi. A very twitchy ride when he gets it settled. Looks really strong. Said felt confident in Atlanta. We'll see how he does here in practice earlier. Looks pretty good. Here we go. Kyle Mohan. Past the first front clip. Past the second, about the second or third hash mark there. You can hear the rotary really pounding away. Mohan, quick little lift, now back on throttle. Seems that he's got it worked out. Just burning that ethanol literally coming out of the hood. A quick little lift that's throwing some serious flames. Hopefully you media got that. That was a big fireball.
Well, Mohan has had some real bright moments this year, especially in Road Atlanta, and this run right here, trying to build off of that. You can see he gets a pretty decent start, a little bit long on that first inside clip and the second, but not a bad line overall. Great, smooth, fluid transition there to that outside touch and go. Now trying to draw this line here as he gets into this outside zone. Gets into it early, stays pretty deep here. He's got good angle in the car, and then right here, he's just on that third hash mark as he burns off a little ethanol, as you said, Jared, and hits that final inside clip. So nice, strong, confident run from Kyle Mohan here. Let's see, this is where he gets that nice little puff coming out of the engine, and he was right on that third hash mark. So just at the bottom end.
And Mohan with a 73, so good run there from the Menace. All right, so you can see our Fast Orange qualifying leaderboard fill up here with Dean Kearney out front. Right now it's Rad Dan Burkett, this beautiful Toyota Supra. On that first hash mark, really fluid there from Dan Burkett. You can see that Supra locked and loaded. And the judge we're talking about in the driver's meeting, he took that line, kind of worked his way into that outer zone, and now working it back in to tighten up to that finish line. So Dan Burkett, really good and fluid line from him, his sophomore season here.
Well, good start from Dan Burkett. He just sacrificed that last outside outer zone and probably left some points on there, but you can see big angle, fluid transition there. Get some angle in the car to come into this inside clip. And then right here in this outside zone, he doesn't push deep. He doesn't go all the way out to the outside zone. So he's definitely going to lose some points there. You can see he's way down below that hash mark. So leaving some points on the table in regards to that section of the course for line.
And it's a 75. So a lot of 70s right now outside of Dean's 81. All right, so here is Kevin Lawrence, who called his competition timeout. And Ryan, I was talking briefly there about strategy. If you have 2 runs, why would you call it on your first run? You know, might be able to utilize it later, but right now, Kevin Lawrence saw the need, and he is back. He did it within his 5 minutes. And right now, looking good. Not a lot of angle as he goes into that outside zone. You can see him locking up that front right. Utilizing all the tools in his toolbox as he explodes that Black Magic finish line there, Ryan.
Yeah, not sure why he used the competition timeout. It might have been much better served to save that for head-to-head competition, but nonetheless, he does make use of it. It's his one and only of the weekend. He is going to get a nice, strong pull here. You can see a little twitchiness right there from that outside touch and go, but he had a good initiation, got that first inside clip. He's pretty deep into this outside zone here, right on that third hash mark. Big angle here as he tries to pull it back around and just touches that final inside clip. Here he is coming through the power alley here, puts that right rear just on that edge and keeps good angle in the car as he comes through that inside clip heading on to that outside zone. So we'll see how that works out for Kevin Lawrence.
And it's a 76, so another 70s driver there as Kevin Lawrence receives a 76. I can't remember, who were they interviewing? Matt Field, Lorette, and was it Field or somebody?
I think it was Field, yeah.
Yeah, and Mohan and Jones happened to rock a little Fortnite dance behind him. It was pretty funny. So, all right, it's all serious business now for Jeff Jones, this Doc 350Z. And brings it through. Nice job. Sorry, 370Z. Into that outside sweeper. Well done. The Falcon tires ablaze all the way through. Like I said, serious business here for this V8 Edelbrock Supercharged Nissan 370Z, sponsored by Doc and Falcon Tires.
Well, with that clean pass, he'll certainly be into tomorrow's head-to-head competition. Now let's take a look at the run. A little bit long on that first inside clip. Right about that second hash mark, you can see a tiny little twitch there as he sets up to that outside touch and go. You can just see how much full throttle this course is as he hits this outside zone. Starts to pull off a little bit early, but just keeps that left rear wheel right on that third hash mark and then tightens it up to that final inside clip. So Jeff Jones.
And nice score there for Jeff Jones. He gets an 80 A solid score. Love to see Castro do well. This track could suit him. Running that 4-cylinder turbo underneath the hood as past that first front clip, past the second, so kind of a wide swing there. Similar line, and I like the fluidity of Castro. I was gonna say similar to that of Dan Burkett. Big lift there. Surprised kind of by that, causing him to come in, but again, very fluid line there from Castro.
And there's a number of different lines you can run through the power alley there. There's no longer an outside touch and go, so the drivers do have some flexibility, but you can see Castro very fluid here. Just goes a little bit wide on that second inside clip. He does use the entirety of the course, brings it back around to that outside touch and go, comes up a little bit right there on that first the third inside clip rather. And then finally here in this outside zone, he gets on that second hash mark. So one of the deeper sections of the course, was able to fill it and cross over that second hash mark. So good start for Jonathan Castro.
So 83 and 83 for Castro. He takes the lead now. Next up, Dirk Stratton, the dagger in the drift vet. Stratton going for that Formula Drift Rookie of the Year is challenged by Matt VANKIRK, but right now Stratton looks strong. Achilles tires. Lingenfelter power gets all the way out to that touch and go, passes to the naked eye of the judges, and he has some experience at this track, but it does not favor him right now. That looked like a lot of tires and a lot of dirt being thrown up. And there it is, Ryan, it is official. So, and we are getting some terrible news. Alex Hilbrun, Team IMR, and that BMW is a scratch. He has a bad oil pump, and he popped it earlier in practice. I saw him being towed off, didn't know exactly what happened, but get an update, oil pump went bad, so unfortunately for him. So this is the other gentleman that I said is really making a strong and valiant effort here for Rookie of the Year, Matt VANKIRK from the Pacific Northwest, flirts with the dirt. Dirt McGirt into that outer zone, this 2JZ powered S13. All the way out, this Closet Creations vehicle. And past the finish line.
Well, Jared, I thought Matt VANKIRK looked tremendous at New Jersey, very solid there. He looked like a real veteran. And even though he's in his rookie year, you can see here he definitely has the confidence in that vehicle. A little bit long on that second inside clip, draws that middle line. Drops a tire there through that outside touch and go. Now swinging back around loose. A little bit of momentum there for a second. Kind of has to not reinitiate, but get back on the throttle in a little bit less fluid way, and then really overshoots that outside zone. Goes a bit long there and has to really, really late apex that final inside clip, but still goes a bit past it. Let's see what happens here as he's on throttle, then off right here, and the car's floating out. He's just not on the right line. Doesn't have the proper angle. Still able to bring it back around, but he is late on that final inside clip.
And there it is, a 70, a 7-0. All right, here we go. This is Mike Essa. Michael Essa in the Essa Autosports Achilles tire BMW. Past the first front clip. A very fluid driver, and the car is very quick, Ryan. Flying into that final front clip. You can see him working the wheel. A lot of hands being thrown around in that cockpit. Man, it looks like that thing is absolutely on rails. The exhaust note and just where the car is navigated. Solid job there, making easy and quick work of that sweeper is Michael Essa.
Well, definitely he's got the qualifying setup there. He was full throttle pretty much the majority of the course. Essa, nice start here. A little bit long on those first and second inside clips, and you can really hear the car here just blasting as he gets to that outside touch and go. See how fluid and dynamic he is as he shifts back over and then tries to fill this outside zone. He's going to come up a little bit short here, but he's really pegged all the way through. He hits that third hash mark on the inside. So he still has the ability to better this score. For sure, he's got some line points that he could deal with there, but he gets a nice initiation, nice fluid transitions here. Just needs to button up that line a little bit.
And a 79, nice score there for Michael Essa, 79. Cook some mean food over there. So Matt Coffman Racing, Thunderbolt Racing, Achilles tire, 240SX. Got the Ford power plant under the hood, very tight to that front clip on the first, not so much on the second. Massive angle. Kicking off that tire debris on that transition right here in front of the judges stand. Man, looked like he was on fast forward. And KOFFMAN still tearing it all the way back into the pits.
Well, this is a great run for KOFFMAN here. Nice solid way to start off. Early initiation, back on throttle nice and early. Doesn't go too fast through that section of the course where he misses that second inside clip where we've seen a lot of drivers do that. Nice job right there on that outside touch and go. A little bit long on that inside clip, but not too far. Makes it look good. Now as he reaches into this outside zone, he stays on throttle here, and he actually moves deeper towards the end, and he's still able to stay tight on that inside clip, just lifting that front right wheel up.
An 86, a good score there for KOFFMAN. 86 as we are now into the top 16 drivers. It's a great opportunity to, again, show some more people, put some more eyeballs on some drifting. Let's check out this Monster Energy Forward Performance Mustang RTR on Nitto tires. Three-wheel motion and flying through with that Roush Yates power. Really tight to that final front clip. Gets it settled into. Not as, whoa, look at that. Look at the attitude of the car. I was just going to say, not as much three-wheel motion, but then it just started hitting switches. Not literally.
Well, again, also you can hear really Vaughn staying on that throttle majority of the course. A little bit long on that first inside clip, but you can see much tighter on the second. Full throttle here as he shoots out wide. Now brings it back around to that outside touch and go. Beautiful job on that inside clip. And he starts mid-course and then shoots out wide, makes a slight adjustment, and then really fills that zone all the way to the closest hash mark there, and is still able to finish up that line by looking pretty smooth to that final inside clip. You can see using all the course here. Get to that outside touch and go, that left front coming up as he slides right in front of that inside clip.
And an 80, that's an 8-0. The boss, Vaughn Gittin Jr., and his teammate, Chelsea Denofa, the RTR twin Mustangs. Chelsea Denofa just edging out the boss as Chelsea Denofa, BC Racing, Nitto Tire, Ford Performance, Mustang RTR. Nasty initiation. I mean that in a good way. Move, look around that second front clip. Transitioning past the final front. You really raspy, Ryan. I see you plug your ear there. Very loud. Look at the front right wheel stopped in the air. Chelsea Denofa, solid run there. Really love the rate to angle on initiation, Ryan. All right, it's over. It's over. Settle down, kid.
Yeah, you can see it right out of the gate. Chelsea not playing any games. Snaps to angle, sticks with it. Great job right there just on that second hash mark on that first inside clip. Beautiful on the second, mid-line, and then that transition back around. Snappy right there. Gets himself positioned in place, a little bit of e-brake pull, and then right into this outside zone, and then draws a beautiful line pretty much all the way through that final outside, the section of that outside zone. Almost just a perfect arc. He came in for a second and then went back out there and filled it pretty well. And then that huge initiation right to angle, tight on that inside clip. And then that mid-line that gave him the right positioning to that outside touch and go. And here he is on that final outside zone. You can see he comes off just for a second, but then he slides back in it and gets deeper into that zone on that last little section. So good job by Chelsea Denofa. A great first run, and certainly something that he can be proud of for run number one and build off for run number two.
Boom, a 91. He takes that number one qualifying position strongly with a 91, Ryan.
It's interesting, you know, the tracks that we go to, we've seen for 10, 15 years. You get so used to it that where people initiate. What happens year after year is as the cars build and get better and better, that's where you see the differences. Here, we're all kind of learning for the very first time.
All right, Alec Honadell, he's learned quickly over just a few short years, but as he explodes, he gets onto the red and white. Again, that's not what the judges are looking for them to stay off that rumble strip, but as long as it doesn't affect the line, you're not going to be docked too much. As Honadell said, this girl's a rippin' on Instagram, and that Rain-X livery powers past the finish line. Solid run there from the Honadell Racing, Huddy Racing S14.
Well, you're correct, Jared. The judges do not want to see you get up on that section of the course, especially right there. A little bit too tight from Honadell on the rumble strips on inside clip 1 and 2, but much better here as he comes through that inside clip, stays down on the course, gets into this zone nice and early, draws that nice line. You can see right there on that second hash mark, and then tight through that final inside clip. So you can see the initiation, he didn't have the full angle as compared to Denofa, and he had to come up and be a little bit tight on those first and second inside clips.
An 80 there for Honadell. Big styly angle and smoke. And here comes Forrest Wang, throws it in. Nice job from Wang. Really tight to that front clip. Transitions very smoothly, what he's known for. Using all the course. You see a little bit of a hiccup, but now settles in. Running through the gears. You can see some corrections there. Doesn't look like he found that exact sweet spot, Ryan. I mean, the great looking car and the chrome wheels almost showcasing the corrections, the twitchiness.
Well, you can definitely see the smoothness starting off here. Rolls into this initiation. Beautiful job on that first inside clip. Second, pretty good job as well. Right here you saw just a tiny little hiccup there in the fluidity, but he's able to make it look pretty decent as he's tied on that third inside clip. Now here as he gets into this outside zone, he comes in it early, but then he leaves it a bit early as well, and he has to force his way back in to hit that third hash mark and kind of draws a little bit of an interesting line through that final section. But here it is, as you see, he gets into this outside zone, and right there he starts to pull a little bit of angle out of the car. He's not able to fill it completely. He's on the midline here, and then he sweeps back out into the traditional section of that course.
And a 78, so still a very strong score from Mr. Wang. Gretty Performance Products, Toyota Racing Toyota 86. He's on Falcon tires. And here we go, 2JZ under the hood, another 2J car. All 2J podium at our last round of competition, to be honest. As Ken Gushi, very consistent with that exhaust note, Ryan, you can hear it. Into the outer zone, just blending in, really riding the lightning. Well done by the OG Ken Gushi.
Yeah, I gotta figure that that's gonna be very high, at least on the line side of things. Not too many mistakes there by Gushi. Gets that nice initiation here. Look at this, right there on that rumble strip, just right on the inside. Second hash mark there for Ken Gushi on that inside clip. Draws a nice smooth line, and you can see keeping the angle in the vehicle, not making a lot of corrections or adjustments. And watch this, Jared. Gets into this outside zone early, stays deep. This is probably the deepest that we've seen anybody go all the way through, consistent, leaves it at the right time, and draws that nice fluid arc through the finish line. So great start by Ken Gushi there. That's got to be a huge confidence builder. Siri is at full lock right here. He's on the throttle, just right there on the edge of the course, and he really doesn't move too far from there. He starts to eye up the final section of this turn.
Ken Gushi runs deep, so deep, put that score to sleep. 95, a 95 for the Goosh. All right, so we are into our top 10 drivers coming to this round as Ken Gushi takes the lead with a 95. Very comfortable position for him. Here comes another, not an 86, but this is a BRZ. This is Daijiro Yoshihara, turn 14 distribution, another Falcon tire shrouded vehicle. It's so funny. I mean, that's a turbo V8, but it sounds so quiet. Just very, very fluid there from Dai. A very similar line to that of Ken Gushi. Ryan, we are going for it here as we get into the top 10 drivers coming to this round.
Yeah, Gushi may have had a better outer bank or the right-hand sweeper, but I think Dai had the first and second inside clips a bit tighter. Let's take a look at it here. Slow roll into the initiation, nothing super fancy there. Just nice and fluid and consistent. Great job on that second inside clip. Fluid here, not a lot of movement from the front wheels. You can see eyes up this final outside zone. Tiny bit of a hiccup there, but overall still stays really deep and consistently deep through that final outside zone and making it look clean through that last inside clip. So I think this is gonna be a nice solid score for Daijiro Yoshihara. Very minimal mistakes. The fluidity and the commitment were there.
And does not get into the 90s, but an 87 just outside for Dai Yoshihara. And go to blows when it comes to on-track action. Talking about Odie and Matt Field. First up, Odie Bakshis. His Falcon tires, max oil drifts wheels. S14.5, look at that, him lifting a tire there. A lot of squatting, looking like a bullfrog, ready to pounce. Past that final front clip. Quick little lift and then back on throttle. Listen to that exhaust note, Ryan. The V8 just pounding away. Nice job there from Odie Bakshis.
Really great job on execution by Odie Bakshis, especially in that final outside zone. You can see he gets that nice initiation there. Great job on that first inside clip. Pretty good job on that second. He's staying on throttle here. He's fluid. Nice transition there to that inside clip from the outer zone, outside touch and go. And then watch this again. He gets in early, keeps that right, or that left rear wheel right on the line all the way through.
Yeah.
Maybe even done that cleaner than Ken. And a great job by Odie Bakshis. here in run number 1. Here's the initiation. You can see he's back on throttle very early before that first inside clip, but he doesn't over throttle and push too far out from that the second inside clip. He still draws a pretty clean line, but here is where I'm really impressed. You can see just threading the needle all the way through the deepest part of the zone.
Yeah. Is 93, a 93 there for Odi Bakshi, so sits outside that 95 that we saw Gushi get.
Obviously, what you bring to the table with team preparation and skill, and Odi's got that, obviously, and then there's just a lot of luck. Who you go up against in the top 16, top 32, how the vehicle performs, you know, things that break down, it's a way that it goes, and whoever can do that consistently throughout the season tends to be up there in the top 5.
Great point. Here we go. Talk about luck. Let's make a wish with Matt Field at Falcon Tires Corvette. Really tight past that final front clip. Let's see how Matt Field handles this sweeper. Another great job. This is why these guys are in the top 10. Very deep, almost camouflaging that final outside clip with the Falcon Tire smoke. I talked about the frenemies, friends, and enemies. Ryan, a great point about luck. Like I said, there's that wish Falcon Tires Corvette.
Well, Matt Field so close to a win in New Jersey against his teammate James Deane, and you can see why. In his maiden voyage of this vehicle, he really hasn't skipped a beat at all. His preparation was great in the offseason, and look at this, how he's basically going through this course with a lot of confidence, something that you would see on run number 2 perhaps, and on run number 1 he's laying it down, trying to put the best possible score out there so he can give himself some more cushion, but it's very hard to nitpick that run there. That was a great job by Field, very few mistakes, really doing a great job in that final outside zone. You can see that the scores that are coming in.
Boom, a 95. Sorry to cut you off there, Ryan, but 2 drivers now in the 90s, or 3 drivers in the, sorry, a few in the 90s, but 2 with 95s. Let's just clarify there.
You know, tire conservation is going to be really important here, especially on run number 2. So yeah, the drivers have been making adjustments. You know, we talked to Peter Vincek about what he was doing. So, you know, we'll talk a lot more about that, Jared, but I think for the most part, you know, we've got a pretty decent setup that's going to be favorable to a lot of drivers.
Christos Blush, that Mass Motorsports powered BMW called the Eurofighter. But now he's going against the International Fighter. Nice job. Into that outer zone. Can't see the back of that carbon Kevlar BMW as flying through the track as Christos Blush. Christop's got his victory at the iconic track that is Atlanta. I mean, that's just such a great and historic place to get your first win.
Yeah, and it was an awesome time for him and his team, and here he is for his first run, starting off pretty strong here. A little bit long on that second inside clip, but coming through that power alley. You can see right here, he definitely has the speed and grip in the vehicle, and setting himself up here for this outside zone. Threads the needle at the beginning, pulls off for a second, then stays deep through that final section of the course.
In the 88, he goes back in time with the famous mile per hour, coming in 6th into this round of competition. Ryan TUERCK, and I understand Ryan had some engine issues, and I guess the belt kept coming off, so they just said, you know what, let's just swap the engine. So as I lovably called them, the Bone Zone, Chris FORSBERG and Ryan TUERCK, the Blackout Garage. These guys have had a string of bad luck here this weekend, but looks like he's putting it together here in this Gumout Toyota Racing Toyota 86. BC Racing coilovers are being put to work. A little shimmy into that outside zone there for Ryan TUERCK. What's the 4-1? Ryan TUERCK on track.
Well, if he does need to do anything further with the vehicle, I'll have plenty of time now. That was a great run to start off with TUERCK, rolling into this first inside clip. Great job, super tight right there. Nice fluid transition back around, little bit long on that second inside clip, but great fluid motion coming through the power alley and hitting that third inside clip, setting himself up for this outside zone here. Gets a nice early start into that zone, pulls off for a second, and then goes deep. Now trying to keep the angle in the car as he wraps around that final inside clip through the finish line.
Another 88. That's an 88 for Ryan TUERCK. So back-to-back. Justin known for an aggressive initiation. We saw another Mustang earlier, Chelsea Denofa. So with an aggressive initiation, we'll see if PAWLAK throws it out there as well. And that Roush Performance Falcon Tire Ford Mustang. More of a smooth type effort there from Justin PAWLAK. About the second hash mark, maybe just gonna put down a reasonable score. Very tight to that front clip and quickly gets out to that outer line, see if he can maintain that, and he does. Looks like he throws even some more angle at it as he hits that outside zone, Ryan. And Justin PAWLAK finishes out the course and will obviously get a good score.
Well, all things considered, PAWLAK has had a tremendous season here. He's at that podium. He's been very consistent in qualifying. It's certainly a threat here at this new track in St. Louis. Starts off a little bit long on that second inside clip, but great angle there through that outside touch and go, and wrapping it into that inside clip as he sets himself up for this final outside zone. Gets really deep at the beginning, pulls off for a second, and then gets right on that third hash mark to try to draw that smooth line just coming up there on the railing through that final inside clip. But for Justin Pawlak, a good start here in the afternoon, just past 12:40 local time. We'll see where that score slots him in.
9-0, that is a 90 for Justin Pawlak in his Roush performance. Falcon Tires Ford Mustang has had some bad luck with his engines this season. And then also Energy Drink 370Z on Nexus tires, ready to throw it down. He says this thing is ready to shred it, bro. Tight to that front clip. No problem, sir. Keep moving. As Forsberg out to that outside touch and go, about the second hash mark on that final front clip. Into the outside zone. You see that front right locking. Loses a little bit of angle, but then throws it out there. Not reinitiates, but kind of loses, then regains some angle.
Well, really tight on that first inside clip. Probably the tightest that we've seen here. Just gets that wheel to glide over the lowest section of that part of the course, and then right there on that outside, that second inside clip, a little bit long there. Second hash mark on that inside clip as he enters into this final outside zone. Great start here, fills it at the deepest part of that section, and then right there draws that nice smooth line through that final inside clip. So for Chris Forsberg, a good start here. Take a look at this, Jared. You can see that wheel just barely comes up, and he makes it look really smooth and clean, and then that transition back around.
89 and 89 there for Chris Forsberg.
Plate PR9 GH1. Again, license plate PR9 GH1.
All right, right now Peter Visick around that second front clip into that outside zone. Excuse me, into the touch and go, now into the outside zone. Visick had the win in Irwindale last year. He wants to get back on top of the podium as the 1 and 2 of Peter Visick and James Deane.
Well, he really was a shining star in Seattle with that #1 qualification. And here starts off real strong, a little bit long. You can see a lot of drivers not able to do the first and second inside clip perfectly. The timing there, trying to get the speed right. Visick here hitting that outside zone. Gets into it nice and early and pretty much sticks with it here. Stays on throttle here through that final inside clip.
And the results are in for Peter Visick, an 88. So another driver in the 88s. And also taking into consideration 1,000 horsepower to this 4-cylinder Borg Warner turbocharged nitrous hatchback. Throws it into that first front clip, just flirting with that red and white rumble strip. Into that touch and go. Gets all the way out past that final front and puts that back left right on the edge of the track, making it look really easy, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, this is what AASBO does best here. I mean, where are the mistakes in the line? I just don't see it. Great initiation here, nice and early, super tight there on that first, but he's able to link it to the second, which what we haven't seen from a lot of drivers. Smooth right there through that outside touch and go, hits that inside clip on that first hash mark, gets into this outer zone early and stays with it. Very smooth, consistent line, Jared, all the way through, and then is still able to hit this inside clip without really making even a small bobble on the line. So Frederic AASBO giving himself a great opportunity here to be up very high in the qualifying positioning. And now it's all left in the judges' hands. We've seen as high as a 95 from 2 drivers.
Yep. And we do a 98, nearly perfect. A 98 from Frederic AASBO, just 2 points shy. Where were those 2 points? So now is our defending champion as well as our current points leader. And he's just in front of AASBO. I shouldn't say just, about 80 points in front of Frederic AASBO. James the Machine Deane. Wordhouse Drifting Falcon Tires S15. And here he comes to the naked eye of the judges' stand. So not as close to that front clip. So he's not completely invincible. Wow, really riding the grass edge, doing some landscaping there for Gateway Motorsports Park. But again, James Deane definitely going to leave some points out there as far as line right here in front of the judges stand.
Well, he did a great job on the outside sweeper and on this first inside clip, but as we were looking for mistakes from Oswald and couldn't find him, you can see here James pulls a little bit wide on that second inside clip. As he gets through the power alley and the touch and go, he's going to drop that right rear as he comes into this outside zone. I love this part of the course, though, really deep here. Does not deviate from that line whatsoever, so great job by Deane there. But as you said, Jared, maybe leaving a few points on the table. Oswald might be safe out in the lead. Here it is, right there into that touch and go area, dropping that right rear.
Yeah, truth be told, I don't know how you're looking at it, but I'll watch the screen, and when I hear them over our right ear, because basically by the naked eye they are far off. So I'm watching the monitor, but then when they get to basically that touch and go or the front clip, that's kind of when I watch it with my naked eye. An 84 for James Deane, and 84 for James Deane. So right now, FREDRIC, AASBO, our #1 qualifier. Ryan Litteral, who needs a score in order to see head-to-head competition tomorrow. He will be seeing Pro 2, so he's doing double duty both today and tomorrow. A lot of driving for this talented driver. Coro Work 350Z throws it in. Ryan Litteral past the point and no return. Gets up on the level skip, little hop, skip, and a jump. Out to the touch and go. Oh no! A big correction for Ryan Litteral, and that will be double zeros for Ryan Litteral, and unfortunately. So next up was to be Taylor Hull. He has a 62 on his first run. He is parking it, and he will be seeing head-to-head competition next in that Comp Cams. Achilles Tire, Affirm Consulting, ATSV. Next up, Austin Meeks. Austin Meeks, he had a 64 on his first run, and looks like he will be getting a incomplete run here on his second. Here we go, Federico Scerriffo, driving the Fiorella Nitto tires in this Ferrari 599 GTB, twin supercharged, 12-cylinder right now, throwing down. A lot more fluid than I've seen in the past from Federico. Very exotic exhaust note now, bringing into that final finish line. As I said, Federico sounded, he told me that he found some more horsepower, some more torque, and he likes the attitude of the car. It squats a lot more.
He's got that 74. You can see goes a little bit long there in that first inside clip. Better there. Tiny little bit of jitters there coming through that center section, but now cleaning it up. Sweeps into this final turn here, gets in early, and nice job by Federico making some adjustments here from run 1 to run number 2. Great bit of driving here. Looks like he will probably improve on that first score.
All right, as Ryan said, Federico a 74 on his first run. And he did, an 80, boom. Nice call, Ryan. You're all right, so an 80. That's an 8-0, an 80 for Federico Scerriffo on his second run. Here comes Dean Carnage Carney, who really progressed things quickly with an 81 on his first run. The Oracle Lighting, Achilles Tire, oh, and a correction, shuts her down. Yeah, so, oh man, bummer for him, but fortunately he does have a score on the board. Yeah, and we, in that driver's meeting, Ryan, that was a point that was brought up, is basically we got rid of that when you went into that power alley after that second front clip. We had a touch and go. There's a kind of a 1-2 touch and go. We got rid of that, but the drivers really want to institute basically don't go shallow. As Kevin Lawrence, so this is Kevin Lawrence's second run. Remember, he utilized his competition timeout on his first run, but he did get a score, so he got a 76 on his first run. Can he better it in his Injuku Racing? That's 14.3 and brings it around.
Well, looks like an improvement from Kevin on the right-hand sweeper, but still a little bit of trouble there on the first half of the course. Burning the tires down the front straight. Gets in a little bit tight here from initiation. Didn't get the right line through that first and second inside clip. Good job here through the power alley. Tighter on that inside clip through the final section of the course, and then you can see the line that he's been drawn here in this outside zone. Very consistent, nice and smooth, not a lot of movement in the front wheels, so The 76 is what he's dealing with in run number 1, but you can see that.
And there is the second run from Lawrence, an 83. An 83 for Lawrence. He does better his first score, so let's see how Taguchi does here on his second run. Taguchi had a 76 on his first run. And here comes Taguchi into that first front. Oh, wow, explodes that Black Magic clip. And through, wow, really using all and even a little more than just the course. As Taguchi really on a tear right now. Looks like a man possessed. Taguchi ninja style through the course run.
Well, Taguchi gets really lucky here. Watch this. He's going to center punch this clip.
How?
And then watch the front bumper is hanging on by a thread. Right here, it gets sucked under. And he's lucky that it didn't have an impact on the front wheels. We actually saw in FD Japan, and we've also seen it here in the past, where a bumper gets in those front wheels and gets stuck, and then the car slides and they can't go anywhere. But Taguchi's able to get through it. He has that 76. He's in the competition, no problem. Trying to better it. But let's take a look here one more time. He gets way too tight on that inside clip, and you can see how much of a problem that is. That second inside clip, but much better job there. There goes the bumper, and you can see he's trying to set himself up properly to get to that outside touch and go.
And it's an 81, so even with all that disaster, or I wouldn't say disaster, but destruction of the clip, getting into the dirt, he receives an 81, puts him into 16th position. His necks and tires, and there is the lone rotary, the last starfighter. The stars being the Wankles. Here we go, American Ethanol, Masatrix MX-5, coming in that first front clip. Wraps it around the second. And into that quick little touch and go, but he hangs it out there for quite a bit. Now in front of the judges stand. See him yanking the brake. This is where we saw some fire out of the hood, but no pyrotechnics on this run from Kyle Mohan, as Mohan with a 73 on his first run. Ryan, do you think that betters it?
Well, he does a better job, I think, if I can remember correctly here, on this second inside clip. Bit tighter there, could have been a little bit closer on that first. Good transition here by Mohan. Coming through that inside clip, now shooting into this outside sweeper. Back on the throttle here. Kind of a mid-high line through this section of the course, but he keeps it consistent, stays on that second hash mark there to finish up.
And a 74, so he does better, just barely. So a 74 for Mohan. Next in tires, Toyota Supra. As I said, very fluid on his first run, and had a 75. See if he can better it. Goes wide, but then tries to tighten it up. About the second hash mark. This looks very similar to his first run. About the third hash mark. Whoa, buddy. Wow, looked like he was going to overcook it. You see a correction there. Went wide and some sputtering mid-sweep for Dan. And Burkett with a 75 on his first one. I don't think that's going to better it, Ryan.
Well, he's certainly flirting with an incomplete as well. You can see Jared, he's a little bit long on that first and second inside clip, kind of twitchy there, so lacking a bit of the fluidity through that section of the course. Now he comes flying through this section, gets a big angle in the car to slow it down, but then he's not able to maintain that line, has to pull off of it, comes down very, very tight. He does keep the front two wheels with a bit of angle in there, so it's not going to be an incomplete, I don't think, but it certainly was pretty close there as he entered into that last sweeper with a lot of momentum, was just not able to carry it and draw that smooth arcing line that you'd like to see.
And Dan Burkett's score is in on his second run, a 66. So just as we predicted, next up it is Jeff Jones. And Jones, on his first run, a solid score of an 80. And I have a feeling, just knowing Jones, he's going to push even harder in this Doc Falcon Tires Nissan 370Z. Around that first front clip. Goes long, as you would say, Ryan, on that second clip. Fills all that touch and go. Remember, that's not a zone, but this definitely is. So about a midline, third hash mark on that outside. And crosses the finish line. Ryan, is that enough to beat an 80 on his first run?
We'll take a look at the initiation here. Gets flirts with the edge of the course, just pushing up a little bit of dirt there. Tight on that inside clip, but you can see not able to link that second one. Midline coming through the power alley. Nice job by Jones. Coming up a little bit late on that inside clip there, and you can see some movement from the front wheels, trying to get settled and situated here. Is able to hit that third hash mark, but didn't draw the most consistent line.
Scores are in here for Jones, and that's a 76. A 76 does not better his first score of an 80. I know it rained before we got here. Some of the guys early on that arrived earlier than Wednesday, but forecast potentially a little threatening thunder, but thunder right now on track from Castro. Losing that back bumper past that second clip. Hits the touch and go really tight. So that final front clip. Loses the back all the way completely. And keeps it moving. So Castro with an 83 on his first run, Ryan.
So Castro's second and final chance here to try to better that 83. Initiates, also gets a little dirt drop there, and then you can see that's where the bumper comes loose. Tight there on that second inside clip, but you can see he was a little bit shaky. The front moving around a little bit more than you'd like to see. He's having to reposition himself. He was about to go wide and off course, had to make an adjustment, tighten up the line. Now he gets back on it, gets out to the deepest part of that outside zone, and then through the finish line there, but not the smoothest and most fluid. Here's where the bumper comes loose. Now it's going to start to pick up, and he's going to come up a little bit tight there on that inside clip, and you can see it does change the way that the vehicle was rotating through that center section.
79, a 79 there for Santo Domingo. From Ohio, Lingenfelter Performance, Achilles Tire, Stratton Chevrolet, Corvette. He's driven this track before. He's probably driven it more than any other driver here. He's driven it at MDU years ago, and he's been back here, but now he went off course on his first run. He had an incomplete run. He just barely nudges and kisses over that first Black Magic front clip. Just needs to keep it between the lines and keep it on the road for Dirk Stratton. Potentially a little nervous here now. And it looks like Stratton will be receiving a score. Don't want to speak too soon because he's got to cross the finish line, and there it goes. So Stratton will cross, and Ryan, that was a potential fourth bye for our top four qualifiers, but now it looks like the top three qualifiers will get a bye run and Stratton will get a score.
Well, definitely wiping the sweat off the brow there, a sigh of relief, and all the other things that you'd want to say about that run, but Stratton here pulls it together, gets a pretty decent run here. It's not going to be a super high score. It's going to probably be mid-pack, but he's able to do it, throw down a conservative yet strong qualifying run in run number 2 and save his weekend with that effort there. So great job by Stratton. Drops a little bit of a tire to get that dirt drop, just nudging that inside clip here. Good transition back around, but you know, he's got to play it a bit safe here and not push it too difficult, knowing that he's just got to get a...
And it's a 70, so not the strongest score there for Stratton, but keeps him into, puts him into 26th position as it stands. All right, so here's Matt VanKirk around that first front clip and around that second, on that second hash mark. Gets out to the touch and go. Past the judges stand, nice job. As you said, Ryan, Matt VanKirk looked strong in New Jersey, as he did in Seattle as well as home track. Making me a little nervous there around that final sweeper, but VanKirk with a 70 on his first run.
Well, no easy ask here, especially this initiation point that leads into this first inside clip. We're just not seeing a lot of drivers link those two together. It's either hitting one or going off, or both of them being off here. And VanKirk has that 70 on run number 1. He's trying to build off of that. I think he probably will. It'll be right around there, but you can see he had to pull a little bit of angle out of the car on this last corner.
All right, results are in for VanKirk, and he gets a 77, puts him into 24th position.
Yeah, no, we're definitely seeing just the genius of the fabricators and engine builders in the series, being able to take pretty much anything that's out there, from 4-cylinder turbo to naturally aspirated V6, V8, everything, and make it competitive across the board.
So speaking of competitive, Michael Essa, he has not gone the route of the V8 in the BMW. He's actually utilizing the BMW power plant under the hood of the championship winning BMW. He had a quick stint in a Camaro, but finds himself back behind the wheel of his ESSA Autosports Achilles tire BMW and makes it look really easy, as ESSA had a 79 on his first score.
Well, beautiful execution by Michael ESSA on that last outside sweeper and through that first inside clip here. Great job by Michael ESSA. Just gets a little bit of a dirt drop right here into that touch and go, sweeping through this third inside clip. And watch this, Jared. He locks into this outside zone, and notice how he doesn't really move from that spot. That just really shows the commitment. He leaves right there at the right time and gets that inside clip with a nice arcing turn to finish it up. So I think that's going to be better. The only thing is right here, he got into that touch and go a bit deep, dropped a tire or two there, but overall, strong performance by Michael ESSA, especially on that last outside sweeper.
Dropping a score there with a 90. Boom, Ryan. So you called it. Definitely a strong run there. Very fluid, clean, as a 90 for Michael ESSA. Next up, Matt Coffman. And Coffman threw down an 86 on his first run. You can see our fast orange qualifying leaderboard. AASBO out front, Field, Gushi, Bakshi's, Denofa. Can Coffman join him? You see him throw that angle out there and just stick with it. All the way out to that touch and go. Into that outer zone. Look at that. Put some more angle on it past that outside zone, Ryan. And Coffman does that better than 86.
Well, a good score to build off of a run number one. Nice big angle there by Coffman. Does pull some out though, and he goes a little bit up on to the railing there, the curbing. Super tight on that third inside clip. A little bit of movement here, trying to stay settled. Now he's drawing that line through the final right-hand sweeper. And then real late apex there to that final inside clip. But a solid run number one. Look at the angle here by Coffman. Now if he just got the timing a little bit better, he would have got right on that inside and not gone up on the curbing there. But overall, a good run by Coffman. Probably going to be in and around the first score, maybe a little bit less. Hey, look at that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now people are really going to think that Formula Drift is scripted. Maybe a little bit, literally 1 point less. So an 85.
Vaughn Gittin Jr., roll out.
Vaughn Gittin Jr. the Monster Energy Nitto tire. Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Vaughn Gittin Jr. had the opportunity and drifted over at the Nürburgring in a vehicle and made his way over to Goodwood, and then, like I said, Oshkosh Air Show. Right now, he's piloting this thing, and really, the three-wheel motion coming into play. You can see the attitude of the car not affected too much. Playing in the dirt McGirt. ODV, Old Dirty Vaughn here, throws it in. Nice job by Vaughn Gittin Jr., former champ. You like that, ODV? Old Dirty Vaughn, expecting a baby on the way. VG3.
Well, he was definitely pushing on that run and trying to get up into that top five. And look at this right here, this big angle initiation, super tight on this first inside clip and the second. Great job there. Mid-line here through the power alley, drops those tires, and it gets him a little bit out of whack. You can see he had to make an adjustment there, those front two wheels. Now, had he not done that, this would have been a very, very highly scored run, and it still may be pretty high. He'll have that one mistake that he'll have to deal with, but that's a great job on that outside zone. He was able to keep his composure. Let's see how, as he leaves this section of the course, as he comes over, he just gets a little bit too deep there, and then watch the front wheels make a little bit of an adjustment. And you know, you can see the driving skill really come out there, because a lot of other drivers may have just continued to go off course, but he was able to get back on course and make it look pretty clean.
And Vaughn goes back-to-back 80, so an 80 and an 80. So same score as his first run. He's in the BC Racing Nitto tire, Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Again, him and Vaughn out of Oshkosh Air Show. We had a great week at Air Venture, and now, whoa, massive angle. Right to angle, center punches that clip. That's enough for an incomplete run. Whoa! Chelsea Denofa is throwing caution to the wind, absolutely just airing it out. That's basically like Michael Jordan dunking from the free throw line as Denofa just goes for it. Ryan, I mean, this is kind of just a throwaway run, so he just really wanted to, no risk it, no biscuit.
Well, that wasn't really for the judges after that part of the course. This was really for us and you guys at home to be entertained. Watch this right here. Massive angle, basically backwards, and actually makes it look pretty smooth there.
Not the prettiest,
awesome.
But
that was unbelievable. You can just see the fabrication of that vehicle mixed in with the skill of Chelsea Denofa really shining through there. And though it's not going to be, you know, our #1 qualification, I think Denofa knew once he got a bit tight here and center punches that clip, he's not able to get up into the top 3. He might as well just go for it. And this is just unbelievable here. Carries the momentum.
As it's a 73 for Chelsea. He's still sitting in the top 5 with a 91 on his first run. As thanks, Abby. As Alec Honadell leaves the line. That Rain-X, Permatex, Nexen Tire, Hoonigan, Huddy Racing Supercharged S14. He has a score on his first run. All of the course. Yeah. Riding the edge. Explodes that back clip, Ryan. And taking a look at his previous score, an 80. Yeah. All right, chill out, Saucy.
Yeah, this is definitely a better run for him overall. Much more clean, fluid, a little bit long on that first inside clip, but back around for the second. And notice not too many mistakes here line-wise. You can see big angle here through that section of the course, hits that third, third inside clip, and then locks into this final outside zone, really keeping that back left rear right at the edge of the course and just kicking a little bit of dirt up there, but a very, very minor mistake. Here it is. He enters early and he stays locked in, and we've seen the guys that have had those really high scores have been able to do that, plus matching it.
89, dude, 89 there for Alec Honadell. So Honadell, you can see our Fast Orange qualifying leaderboard. AASBO still with that 98. Look, a couple drivers with 95. That's Matt Field and Ken Gushi. Bakshi's there with a 93 and Denofa with a 91, rounding out our top 5. You can see the remaining drivers. And here we go, Forrest Wang on his second run. Very fluid, signature style. Those aren't vape clouds, courtesy of Vapetasia. That is Achilles tire smoke. Good transition right here in front of the judges' stand. And Ryan, looks like just a little correction there towards the end of that sweeper, but a solid run there from Forrest Wang.
Well, look how much better there was improvement on the first section of the course, Jared. Nice smooth initiation, big angle here, tight on this first inside clip, and then back around for the second. And that's what we haven't seen from a lot of drivers. And linking that and this section of the course really puts you in good position here. Now, the only part of the course where he had a little bit of a flub was right here. He had himself situated to fill that entire zone. He had to come off a little bit early, and then the line pushed him out a bit wide there for that final inside clip.
And it's an 87, so let's flip-flop the score from a 78 to an 87 there for Mr. Wang. He definitely wants to back it up with a strong score, but Matt Field, you a fan, Gushi, won't you back that 86 up? I'm glad I got a little chuckle out of you there, Ryan. I think Gushi heard my joke and chuckled, maybe messed up a little bit there. Yeah, on initiation, had a little bit of a hiccup. Whoa, getting into the dirt. So not as clean and fluid as his first run. Maybe taking a page out of Chelsea Denofa's book and throwing it out there a little bit more, but. Again, I'm glad you liked my joke, Brian. That's all that's important.
Well, the first one set the bar. The second one, he just mistimed here. He's a bit too tight, and you can see how the railing there basically pushed him off into that first section, into the second section, and then he's basically just trying to hold it together now. This is obviously not going to be better than the 95, but the importance of this run really is going to be the tiebreaker between him and Matt Field, who currently, as you mentioned, Jared, sit tied with 95. So this score, very important for Ken Gushi, at least in terms of positioning and where it's going to put him in the bracket. You could just see how high that is from that shot. It actually pushed him off. He wasn't able to ride up it. He got pushed off out to the outside.
All right, so we talked about backing it up, and backs it up with a 70. Daijiro Yoshihara up next. Turn 14 distribution, Falcon Tires Subaru BRZ. Like I said, on social media, they said they had a crack in their manifold, but they were proud, and the hard-working team got it back on track, and he put down a solid first run, and right now he's doing it just the same. Talking about backing it up. Maybe he can even beat his first score. Dai Yoshihara had an 87 on his first run. Ryan, he's going for it. Tending to think that this might better an 87, Ryan.
Yeah, I think you could be right there. There was one little tiny mistake into the middle section, but look at this right here. Nice smooth initiation, perfect on that first inside clip. Very tight and close on that second inside clip. Watch him right here, just a little tiny mistake in fluidity from the angle and the transition, but outside that, as he locks into this final sweeper, you can see the line is very consistent, the smoke line very consistent, and he's able to still hit that inside clip with good angle there. So I do think that this is going to contend to be higher than that 87. And for Daijiro Yoshihara, this is good news for him because he already has a really high score. He's already placed in a really good position, and now he's backed it up again with another solid run.
Results are in here for Dai Yoshihara, an 89. So just barely beats it out, squeaks it out, but an 89 there for Daijiro Yoshihara. All right, so here we go with Odi Bakshi's Falcon tires, that Max Oil drifts wheels, S14.5 around that front clip. And now into that outer zone, nice job. See a little bit of corrections there on that sweeper. Let's take a look at it again.
So Odi Bakshi's, he's got that 93, starts off strong here, big angle through inside clip 1 and 2. Great throttle control from Odi. Wonderful job through that center section, but he comes up a little bit tight on that inside clip, has to make an adjustment there. Tries to keep the angle in the vehicle. It does ride that line all the way through that outside zone.
And there's a score at 90 on his second run. And in order for him to rightfully earn that #2 position, he'll need to do better than Ken Gushi's second score, which was that 70. So here we go. Matt Field, the Wish Falcon tires, Borla exhaust. Exhaust no past that front clip. Powering down, Ryan, looks like this Vortex supercharged vehicle could be bettering that 70, and he'll rightfully take that #2 qualifying position.
Yeah, well, no doubt that's going to be better than a 70, so that will be the tiebreaker between him and his teammate Ken Gushi. You can see Field here, great job starting off. Very fluid through those first 2 sections of the course without getting up on the curbing too much and losing his fluidity. Right there, really great job using the brakes to keep himself on that nice line. Very consistent, great angle. So Field looking so settled in that vehicle after strong performances the past couple of rounds. And here he is getting into that final right-hand sweeper, staying full throttle all the way through.
And yeah, rightfully so. That 90 on the second run holds him in that #2 position. And just knowing Belushi is going to push harder and harder and burn through those Achilles tires, utilizing all the angle of that Wisefab kit past that second clip. Sounds like an airplane right now coming upon us. That Mass Motorsports V8. Motul lubricants running through the veins. The HGK Eurofighter BMW.
Well, Kristaps definitely would like to get into the 90s here. He had that 88, as you said, Jared. Wide swing to that first inside clip, a bit long there. Better on that second. Now coming through the power alley, drops that wheel, gets himself a little off kilter there, but is still able to make it through that final inside clip. Now hitting that outer zone. Pretty good line being drawn here, comes off to that second hash mark. and is just a bit too late to that final inside clip. Let's take a look at what happens here. You can see he got himself mid-line and then just didn't get the transition timing about as right as he wanted to, but was able to hold it together. So 88 on run number 1. Let's see where this puts him in for run number 2.
And a 78. So Ryan TUERCK has an 88 in his Gum Out Black Magic Next Entire Toyota Racing Toyota 86. Let's see what Ryan TUERCK's got. Into that first front clip. Really tight to that rumble strip, but then throws it long on the second. Into the dirt. So a lot of these guys getting into the dirt. Past that the final front. And into the sweeper. And Ryan TUERCK rounds out this run. Sage, he had an 88 on his first run.
Well, the tiebreaker run here for TUERCK as well. He needs higher than a 78. And then we'll see what happens with Peter Vincek. But TUERCK, as you said, he had that first inside clip beautifully done. The second one was a bit long there, and you can see the line got him a little bit out of whack on that touch and go. As he got through that final inside clip, you can see some corrections being made on that outside zone, but still able to make it the line look pretty clean. Here he is kind of going off course. You can see some guys going off course.
An 87 there for Ryan TUERCK on his second run. Field and GUSHI, Bakshi's 93, Denofa 91. Here comes JTP, Justin PAWLAK, but a 90 on his first run. There's more signature Justin PAWLAK style. Oh, you saw him take a little bit of angle out of it when he approached that first front clip. Looks like he had to just massage it around the front clip. Hear him lift, drop the car into that outside zone. Really ticking the boxes as far as the clipping points, but the corrections, either the lifting or that first front clip run.
Well, you can see from our perspective, Jared, he really nailed that third inside clip. But as you said, took a little bit of angle out there, was on the right line, but he could have done that a little bit cleaner. Now coming through the power, it looks a lot better here. And from our perspective, we're right up on top of that. He nailed that inside clip and then gets back on the throttle, but he pulls off that zone for a second, and then he gets back in it. The judges have seemed to like when you lock into that line and stay consistently there. We were still pretty deep into that zone. Here's the initiation. Big angle here, and he just pulls a little bit out. If he would have maybe stayed on it right there, he could have had that section, added a few more points, but he does have that high score of a 90. Here he is into that outside zone, threads it right to the edge of the track, pulls off just a few inches there, and then gets back on it to fill that zone completely.
An 87 on his second run, an 87. Chris FORSBERG, NOS Energy Drink, 370Z on necks and tires. FORSBERG got an 89 on his first run. And here comes the three-time champ. Around that first front clip, well done. On the first hash mark, around the second. Into the touch and go goes FORSBERG. Really great placement, very fluid from FORSBERG. Now into that outer zone. Really tight to that final outside zone and crossing the finish line. So Ryan, again, it bears repeating, the top 3 qualifying drivers will have automatic buys into the top 16.
So Chris FORSBERG here, second run. Great job on that first inside clip. Keeps it tight on that second. Huge throttle here through that power alley. Gets out to that touch and go through that third inside clip. And this is looking like a pretty strong run here from Chris. 89 on that first run. The second run looks pretty solid as well.
All right, results are in for FORSBERG, and it's an 88, so he does not better his first run. Let's see how Piotr throws down here on his second run, Ryan. Little Manji entry similar to that of James Deane. Oh, and a wide swing and also a correction. I don't foresee this being better than an 88. So as I said, Ryan, you know, they are proven to be invincible, you know, basically mortal, not to be invincible. But an 88 on his first run there.
Well, watch the front end here, wash out Jared right there. He was going super fast, had to make an adjustment. He's able to save it and get back around to that second inside clip. Now through the power alley here, you can see slight adjustment in the front. so lacking some of the fluidity overall, but still extremely fast. And you can see why these cars have been so devastating in head-to-head matchups. And these two drivers combined with that have just been a real challenge for the rest of the field. But here you can see a mistake from Peter Vincek. And he does have that 88. So I'm not sure that that's going to cut it and improve.
An 82, so it does not, Ryan, as we predicted. Trying to go for that perfect run. Only 2 points left out on the track, and that was for commitment and for line. Just those 2 points. So let's see as Frederic AASBO goes around that first front clip, tight to that second, into the touch and go. Goes AASBO, now past that judging stand. The Rockstar Energy Drink, next entire Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. Using all of the course. Ryan, is that the perfect score? Is that another 98? Is it a 99? Where do you think?
Well, let's take a look here. Early initiation, good angle by AASBO. Nothing wrong with that one. Nothing wrong with that one. Still on throttle here. Big angle through the power alley. Tight on that inside clip. Trying to find out where those 2 points got left off. This is very similar to that first run. So this is going to be in the ballpark here. And Frederic AASBO once again locks down another solid run with, you know, really hard to find where the mistakes are. And can he find those 2 extra points? He would love to have that 100, as well as his team, Stefan Papadakis, or even maybe a 99 or a 97, but this is right there. Maybe could have been tiny bit deeper into that zone. I have no idea. I mean, that is right on the edge there. So Frederic AASBO.
Well, Ryan, again, it is not 96. So he's deemed the machine. He's a tall, green, lean, mean, fight machine. James Deane. Here we go. Into that first front clip. He's sitting on an 84. Can he better AASBO with that near perfect 98 on his first run? James Deane passed. The judges stand in his 2JZ powered S15 and gets and utilizes all of that outer zone, Ryan. Don't know if that has that X factor that would just supersede that of the Norwegian Hammer.
Well, it was very AASBO-esque though, wasn't it? You can see really tight on that first inside clip. I mean, where's the mistakes here? He's on throttle, nothing major here. He had a little bit less angle than AASBO through that center section, I think, and that may be a factor. But look at the line. The line is basically perfect. Tiny little adjustment there, but I mean, if this is not in the mid-90s, I'd be surprised. And certainly going to better his day because he does have that 84 on that first run.
All right, so before we give our final score, these are the live stream schedules. Today, we still have Pro 2 head-to-head competition. Top 16, local time 5:15. Just an FYI, it is just before 2 o'clock. Again, just before 2 o'clock. So in about 3 hours and 15 minutes, we'll have head-to-head competition. But then tomorrow, it starts all over again for Pro. Top 32 head-to-head begins at 1 p.m. local time. Our AEM halftime show featuring the Maximum Driftcast fellas that are Sam Nalvin, Corey Hosford, and Paco Ibarra. He has 8 R's in his last name. And then 5 p.m. is Pro Top 16. So National Anthem opening ceremonies and Top 16. And our final score of James the Machine Deane, our defending champion, with a score of 92, a 92, so just outside, but does get a top 5 spot. And our top 3 qualifiers will receive a bye run into the top 16.